Toys, 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 manly toys, 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 toys,
and TV and movies too. Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's the Toy Duo team, and we're coming to you on Saturday, February 10th, which just happens to be Lunar New Year and is the beginning of the
year of the Hammerhead.
Oh, year of the
thumbnail wrong.
Year of the Hammerhead.
Gung Hei Fak Choi for all the people that celebrate the Lunar New Year.
Awesome, dude. And wishing everybody wealth, happiness in the new year, in the coming new year.
Is it Year of the Dragon? Is that why it was a dragon?
Yeah,
okay.
Year of the Dragon.
Just because they don't like to say Hammerhead, it's
so they say dragon.
Yeah.
And anyways, this is the Toy Duo team. We're going to talk about action figures, toys, whatever, movies, Marvel, Star Wars, DC, anything that kind of comes up. We're going to talk about. If it's cool, we're talking about it. Right?
So it's
Possibly.
no comment.
If it's not cool, we're also talking about it.
When is the Scarlett Johansson episode?
Of what?
Oh, just an episode dedicated to talking about Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
All right. Well, we can work on that. You just need to come up with a topic, like a variety of like little segments so that we won't be sitting here. Now what?
Well, last week I binged Monarch. I guess if anyone hasn't seen Monarch, I'd highly recommend. I'm not huge into the like MonsterVerse, but that show was awesome. I just couldn't help but think like it may have been a little bit more frustrating to people watching it like week over week, but the main thought I had was like, oh my god, the writers of this just nailed like. You don't have like that much context for the relationships and the characters who have pre-existing like relationships and whatnot, but the way they handled that and handled the like different timelines and whatnot was exceptionally well. And that's where I was thinking like, oh my god, like Ahsoka could have been better if like they took a similar.
That's a good point, Eric, because I think the writing on that show, haven't watched the finale, the last one. It's been kind of spoiled.
Let me tell you how
on that series was actually quite well done. Like they thought about the other, Godzilla, movie when they wrote this. They didn't ignore it. They didn't recanonize stuff.
To me, I'm not even bothered about the monsters. It was just a good like story about people more than anything in relationships. Sorry, Vern.
That's okay. What I wanted to know is, would you have rather seen it where they did like maybe like the 2.5 episodes of the past, 2.5 episodes of like the present or whatever, and then kind of like, and maybe save like did the past and then did like the present and then save some of the key past moments that you needed and mixed them in?
I think they did. Like it depends on the execution, but I think they mixed things up pretty well with the timelines to help complement the story that they were trying to tell and thing. Like
I get it.
Keep certain things specific about the relationship between those like characters in the past and how the relationships might be a bit different than like in the first episode when you saw the first kind of flashback. But
okay.
Yeah.
I do like the father and son actor combo thing.
That was good.
Kurt and Wyatt Russell.
More similar stuff like that in the future. If not with those two actors, with other actors, it's kind of cool, man. It's a good way to do it. So like we all want kind of maybe see Billy Lord portray Leia sometime in the future. And I think there can't be a better idea than that. Like, especially when acting is in her blood now and she's been in other Star Wars content and stuff. why not,
that
man?
would
Like,
be
it won't do bad unless she's a terrible, terrible actor.
I think that's a
But
nice.
there's lots of terrible actors that are still quite successful, right?
That would actually be a nice segue or ode to
hell yeah.
for Leia, right? Anyways, every week we do this toy duo team. I just want to introduce the host. We got Rick from Left Coast Graphics. There's his YouTube channel if you want to take a look. We got Super Awesome Geek Show, who's not here today, but he's part of our team, and there's his channel. We got Geek Strong YouTube, who showed up for one episode so far this season. We'll see how many he shows up this year, but there's his YouTube channel. We got Dandy 1981. He's one of our co-hosts. He said he couldn't be here today either. Everybody bailed on this Saturday.
But he's in
celebrating the Lunar New Year. You got Connor from Foolish Figures. He's part of our group. And then you got Sir Eric Brown, who, what did you just put your 1 millionth video up on YouTube?
Yeah.
You're catching up to Mr. Beast, man.
I was just to say, watch out, Mr. Beast.
Dude, Mr. Beast posted a video today, like, I don't know, an hour ago. Like, I'm going to give away $800,000 if you confront your worst fear. It has like 9 million views.
Yeah,
like,
it's amazing,
like,
right? Don't you only dream of like garnering that kind of
$500,000 like in an hour? Like, it's ridiculously insane. But hats off to him, man.
Anyways, I do want to go through the chat because when we do a stream like this, it is important to get the folks that are here watching involved in the conversation, because it is about collecting and collecting community, and the people who are here watching are also collectors, and I think it's important. So we got Mr. B out here saying hello. I think later he says I'm doing my hair. I think Rick shared his Facebook Heroes and Villains and Toys Collectibles and other stuff in the vintage variety. Did it run out of room, or is that it?
I could have added a few more words to make it more clear, but.
And he's saying that Mr. B is saying he's rarely on Facebook. I do not have Facebook, so I won't be able to join your group. Paul Morales is here. I said I was getting ready, and then Rick says what's happening, and then Mr. B says I'm doing my hair. So I did do my hair. But let's see. Sunny Sundries is saying, hey, mates, we'll have to watch the replay. He's got to go to work. Then we got Jumpy McClunky. Jumpy. That's going to be a tongue twister. I can't even talk about that. Yeah.
It must be French.
Yeah. I can't even talk about the kid that sells the shells down at the sea. Whatever.
And you live there.
I know. We got Kiwi G.I. Joe Customs and Collectibles joining us. Let's see. He says, don't forget to hit the like button.
Thanks,
then we
Kiwi.
got some people saying hello. And oh my gosh, Dandy's not here, but he jumped in to wish me a happy birthday and a Valentine, I guess. And thanks, Dan. I really appreciate this.
Someone's got a crush.
I know.
I didn't get one. Aren't you supposed to send one to everyone?
Yeah.
The hell,
like
Dan.
no. Duffman's Dioramas has joined up. He's saying hello. Let's see. Jumpy. Yeah.
And
Josh,
happy birthday, Vern.
What?
Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Can I sing your song?
Yes. Let me make you full screen.
No. This is
No pressure.
this is from a now defunct restaurant in Chicago called Ed DeBevick's. If you're familiar with the concept.
Not familiar. Yeah.
Okay, but I'll sing your song. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long.
Copyright strike.
Is that like so you work there, obviously?
No. It closed down ages ago, but it was it's like a 50s diner where everyone, like the staff, dress up as characters and their jerks and whatnot. They have like the world's smallest hot fudge sundae. They'll get up on like the bar and start dancing and singing, and for birthdays they give you a free world's smallest hot fudge sundae, and all the waiters and waitresses will gather around and they'll sing that song.
Oh wow, that's cool.
That's too bad that closed down. I grew up in Ottawa. There was a restaurant like that in Ottawa. I think it was called IP Loonies, if I remember correctly. And the same thing, it was not high end, but it wasn't low end. It was kind of in that middle kind of thing. You can bring your families there and get dinners and stuff. And all the waiters and staff, waitresses, they all wore like costumes, whether it was Superman or Ninja Turtles. Same thing, like a lot of places, they sing your birthdays. But this place, if you walked in with a tie, they cut it off. They come up to you and they cut it off and
Oh.
they put it up on their wall. And there's like a billion ties on the wall. That was kind of their thing. But
They
I
had
miss
a place-
restaurants like that.
They had a place down here called Dick's Last Resort, and like you would ask for straws, and they'd throw you like, I think that's like a chain, right? Anyways,
Yeah, they got them in Chicago.
Josh was wishing me a happy birthday. He also sent me over an R5D4 for a present, and I wanted to share this while he's still here because I did this little video. Let's see if this is the right one.
Oh, you got the Black Series one, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
You guys ready? Let's see.
How's his
So
motivator? Nice work.
Oh, that's cool.
I noticed those little weapons, they just kind of moved on the floor there. That was...
I did. They just fell out on the floor. And I was like looking at it later, like, well, I guess if I crop it for a short, you won't see them.
Yeah. That's
I can't
cool.
tell you how often like I do that, where like I'll move something in the background that's like sitting there and you'll just see it like moving back and forth or something like that.
I've yet to try a stop motion, but it's on my list of things to do.
I think you should. I think you should totally do it. It's super easy now.
Yeah.
Used to be when I
Not
did those stop
so easy.
motion 12-inch GI Joe figures, the ones that are their first videos on my channel, the action team ones. I did it with a digital camera and then had to transfer all those each photo to my computer. And the first time what I realized was when I was outside and I deleted pictures, it threw them all out of order. So I had to learn to like just take all the pictures, load them because they would be in numerical order, and then I can like remove the ones that that didn't work out, right? And then but now it's basically like an app. You just open
there's
it up.
several. Yeah,
and just snap pictures and stuff.
I just actually watched a video the other day of a guy promoting an app, I guess, but making a little stop motion video with like a race car going around his Apple keyboard kind of thing. And I learned stuff like, it's like, you know, because like I can tell you're like pushing a button, right? Every time you're taking a photo, because you get that little bit of, you know, shake or instability kind of thing. But there's ways where you set a timer and that app will just take a picture like every 5 seconds. So there's no chance of your camera moving even a millimeter. And it's interesting to learn all these different ways. And the other one was like, oh no, you just get a little remote and you push a button. I'm like, well, maybe not everyone has a remote to do that kind of stuff, but
well, if you have
lots of technology out there for that, right?
If you have an Apple phone like the iPhone and you have an Apple Watch, there's a button on your watch where you can take pictures. It does do that.
And your earphones, I learned.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When you wear Apple earphones with the wire, which you know, I'm old school.
Oh,
I saw the wire.
There's
a little button on there. And every time you push that button, if it's hooked up to your phone, it'll take a picture. Like, might be a bad thing in some cases, but I mean, it's
you have to have the camera app open.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But like, so like I've used that method before. So because you'll hit the screen and it'll move it a little bit. But so I've used that method. If I'm like outside, I'm just standing it up on something like that, right? Like trying to stand it. Anyways, the iPhone's supposed to be waterproof or water resistant or something like that. I've seen people throw them in buckets and lower it like 200 feet in the water just to see how long it will be water resistant. And I was taking these pictures last week out in like the puddles out front, the little bios swells or whatever. And I so much wanted to take an underwater picture, but I was so afraid to put my phone in the water.
Put it in a Ziploc.
What?
Put it in a Ziploc.
I don't know.
How is the rain and stuff down there? You got a bunch of Vancouver weather, I saw.
Yeah, today it's sunny. It's warming up, so hopefully a lot of this moisture will like kind of dry out. But it's been for the last few days, it's been raining pretty heavy, and here we haven't experienced a lot of like flooding, like at where my house is, but it's a newer construction, so there's like those the drain off things that they build and stuff like that. But anyways, before we get too far, let's catch up on this Transformers. You know what? I actually didn't. I have all the Hot or Not in the slide presentation, but I forgot to go grab this update screen on the HasLab. So I thought I would just share the screen here, and it's basically funded, right?
11,000.
Yeah, 11,000. It like they got like 4,000, like in a day. It looked like.
There aren't tiers
I
for this,
read
right?
they opened it up to like Japan or some other overseas buyers that they usually don't. I saw something about that, so I think that's where they came from. They opened it up to a market that they previously not opened up HasLabs to. And speaking of Hasbro, I just recently found out that they offer free shipping to Canada now, and you don't have to be like a $50 or whatever premium member to qualify for it. So good
you're
job,
going to jump
Hasbro.
right
I
on
don't
it.
know who
Right?
did that, but I ordered the retro 6-pack
Oh,
last
nice.
week because it was on sale for $36. It was literally
Yeah.
half price, and I'm like, why is this half price?
It's
like
sold out too.
It's one of your most popular toys, and it sold out in like about an hour and a half.
Here we go, Eric. At tier 1, 13,000.
Oh, it does have tiers.
They're almost there too.
Is the Matrix Blade, and then at 16,000 backers are these stands.
Okay.
Just include the
stands. So now that there's free shipping, and
I don't know, there's free shipping on HasLabs though,
and they're so close to getting the Matrix Blade. I thought Rick was gonna say I ordered like 5 of them, but then he started talking about Star Wars again.
It's all about Star Wars, man. It all revolves. It's like
So
the
how
6
many
degrees of Kevin Bacon. That's all about Star Wars.
You need 13 for the blade, and then 16.
We're at 11. So couple thousand more. That's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't realize that they didn't open it to some international markets yet. And
I think that's what I read. Yeah. Anyone in the chat back the Transformer?
Yeah, I'd like to know who's getting the Omega, the Prime Direct.
Omega Prime.
Yeah, Omega Prime. Kiwi GI Joe Customs and Collection is telling me that the iPhone is water resistant and a life-proof case is waterproof. I have not heard of
risking it.
Some of those otter boxes, they can get hit by a tank too, but I'm not going to test it.
Yeah, like my test is like if it accidentally slips out of my hand and goes in the water, right? And even with the Ziploc bag, because I had heard this, somebody else said, "Oh, put it in a Ziploc bag." It was one of those like, yeah, was that? Yeah, but
it's like,
and I was like, because that snack bag is just a little bit too small. And then I would have had to grab a gallon bag. I was like, I'm not wasting a gallon bag on this.
Oh, so you actually thought about it?
I did. I did.
Or like there must be some kind of clear, well, like let's say a glass jar or something. You could just dip the glass jar a couple inches under it and turn your phone upside down so you might get a little fisheye.
That doesn't seem worth the risk.
Well, don't drop it in the water.
I so much wanted to though,
for your iPhone,
just to get the diver underwater a little bit. I think if they fill up again, maybe I'll try it, but we'll see. It after that day that I was out there, I had like the next day to go try it, and then I was like, I'm not gonna do it right now. And then like when I finally went out later. I was gonna do it. That's why I was like, I was gonna half Ziploc bag and just like put the part half down. And then it was already the water had already dissipated like half of it, so it was only like half full or whatever.
So it doesn't get that wet there like ever, Vern?
Yeah, once in a while. I mean, it got really wet when it rained, and everything, all the soil is saturated right now. It just we have where I live, we have good drainage. Now there are areas that flooded, and unfortunately there were some houses that had 4 feet of water in them and stuff like that. So I feel for those folks, and I know that the state tried to declare a disaster, so hopefully there's going to be some disaster relief funds and stuff like that.
Yeah, we get rain here like 6 months of the year, so it's
so it's nothing new, right?
Yeah, I hate the rain too. I just hate it, man.
No for Robo. Josh is saying no Transformers HasLab, but he's stoked for those who backed it. There's a good chance they'll hit all the tiers too. Yeah, we'll see if it does.
I think they've hit all the tiers
Yeah.
on most of their HasLabs now. You know, I don't know them all off the top of my head, but has there been a HasLab where they didn't reach all the tiers? I think if they get back, they usually make it.
Or Giant Man.
Giant Man didn't get all the tiers?
I don't think it did.
Like it missed. No, it didn't at the end. It didn't like skyrocket like at the end.
I thought it didn't get all the different heads.
I'm surprised that Giant Man did better than the Rancor. I don't know the numbers, but I mean, it got backed when the Rancor didn't, even if it didn't have the correct, tiers and associated figures. I'm still surprised that some of these other ones made it and that one didn't, because I can still see them doing it and it getting funded within 48 hours kind of thing, if they do it right.
Yeah. Giant Man had 13,889, and what were the tiers?
Oh, so yeah,
it was like less than 200 away from getting the third tier with the scroll face.
It's
like a big head.
I think what they should have done is they should have had an unmasked head.
Yeah.
Right? Like that would have been kind of cool. They could have did the little rubber piece around the neck, right? That you just put it on and it
like
looks
the
like
cowl,
like a hood.
Yeah.
And then it could have had the unmasked head. I think that would have been like a really cool option.
Yeah.
But that I thought that was a fairly decent price for what they had out there and stuff like that.
It's been a while. I'm thinking that's gonna start shipping in the next few months.
No,
I don't think so.
I mean, they haven't even. I mean, that Dragonfly needs to come out first.
Yeah,
Dragonfly was earlier in the year, then the Ghost, and then the Giant Man. So I wonder if they'll come out in that order.
I'm gonna guess
that's what it's insinuating. The Dragonfly this summer, Ghost this fall, then Giant Man this fall, and then the
you won't see the Ghost
stuff in the fall.
You won't see the Ghost until 2025, guarantee.
We'll see. So? It should.
Well, I mean, if everything else takes 9 months to a year, why would the Ghost be ready in 6 months?
Because the fans paid for it, and part of that $600 cost was expedited manufacturing.
Yeah, well,
that's not a thing.
I don't know. The Razor Crest did take longer, but that was also during COVID. So
it also had 40,000 plus backers, didn't it? Like, wasn't that the number one?
I can't remember
quantities. I think it was that high, and the barge too. I think was more than 20,000.
The Razor Crest was 28,111.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot of big ships to produce, and how many containers on a barge is that gonna? A lot, man. That's a lot of containers of boxes. You see those Eternia boxes?
Yeah, that was
enormous.
Jesus, Murphy, man.
Who ordered one of those? Did you order one?
I saw someone on Twitter had 2 of them.
I know, but how many did you order?
Oh, 0. Because
come on,
I never watched. Motu was past my was before my time. Sorry.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, what are you gonna put on your YouTube channel?
Not that.
If it was $100, I would have backed it or bought it at Walmart.
That thing's huge, though. There's like that thing.
Not that huge. It's not much bigger than a Castle Grayskull, which I bought for $30 at Walmart, and then the Snake Mountain, I think, is what, $80 retail. So I know it's bigger, but I mean, it's not 4 times or 8 times bigger to like make the price quadruple, because it has like little rails. And if you measure it with all those rails, sure, it's big. But if you take all those rails away, it's just 3 little towers, like 3 little Ewok treehouse towers.
I'd rather fill that space with like helmets or like vehicles and TVC vehicles. Yeah.
Huge footprint in your collection room if you got that playset and you display it with your Grayskull and your Snake Mountain, like they're all kind of supposed to be in the same, not touching each other, but yeah, that's a big footprint, man. And so far I've only seen people like Scuba Pete with that kind of area that they could display all these massive play sets, flags and Eternias and Razor Crests and even like the big Millennium Falcon, I have to keep it packed away in a box because it's like bigger than my coffee table, than like my dining room table. It's so big I can't display it, so it's in a big box in my bedroom. Razor Crest, I got it up on top of a Billy bookcase. It works up there.
Yeah, I got my Razor Crest right next to me.
I still haven't. I only bought the Razor Crest because at the time they had revealed and the retro collection for, like, you know, Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett stuff. So I was like, oh, this is badass. I'm getting this Razor Crest for the purpose of populating it with my retro figures. And that's why I got it. And I have all the figures. But my goal was to take that Razor Crest to like a beach or to a, you know, a nice sandy park somewhere and just have a day of taking pictures, you know, hook up with a buddy with a truck. But I haven't done it yet. It's been, what, 3 years? And I still haven't. It's too hard to take a big vehicle like that on location for a photo shoot. But that's my goal. I still need to do that.
Well, you could just take some pictures on like a green screen or something and then upload it to one of the AI sites, and you could just replace the background.
Except I don't use AI. I
just winding you up.
I borrowed this tree beard from my buddy Sasquatch Man, and just for the purpose of having a photo shoot with it and take some Ewoks and Groots and whatever, and just go take pictures in the park. I just haven't done it yet, even though the park is literally, you know, 11 steps away from me. So I might happen today.
That's the one with the face that looks just like that has your beard, right?
Yeah. I make money from that.
Yeah.
Because they actually sculpted my beard right on them. My Grayskull looks great just sitting in a box. I think the box art looks better than the actual toy. So, like, I may not ever take it out of the box because I've sold all of my Motu Origins except Mr. T and like a select few like Scareglow and the Faker and He-Man and Skeletor. I think I kept 5, and I had like 20 of them. I traded in a toy store for cash. I like them, but I mean, they're just sitting on the card in boxes. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather like pay bills. So I did. I paid bills last month with my Motu Origins.
Nice. Yep. I can get rid of some of this stuff in here too.
But I still think the Motu Origins are one of the better toy lines currently on the market. Like now they got the Ninja Turtle crossover, which isn't my thing, but I think they still look fantastic. And if I was to buy one, I could take the arms off it and put them on Mr. T. And, you know, that's what's great about those figures is they're highly customizable and swappable. And I'm all for the companies that are doing that on purpose. Like Byrne likes to do his head swaps on Legends and Joes and Star Wars. They almost work seamlessly, but you know they're not the same. They're a little bit different for whatever reason. Some of their head pegs are different sizes and stuff. But with those Origins, they're all the same. So you can take a Stone Cold head and a Ninja Turtle leg and a Mr. T and a He-Man and combine them all, and you know. You can shit bash them. It's pretty cool.
The one thing
they're great for that. Great customs for Mythic Legions because guys can pop all the accessories and heads off and create a whole new creature.
It's definitely a good kind of design feature for playability and like customizing with minimal effort. But I remember like they were Motu was just a little bit before my time, but I remember going over to like friends' houses who had like older brothers and whatnot. And they had Motu toys, and I always thought they were just kind of weird because like just the build of them, and they all like had like their knees bent or like just the way they were set up. I just thought it was weird. Yeah, I just thought it was weird compared to like a more traditional 5 POA figure.
Well, and then what's cool about how they upgraded them on the Origins is they, instead of that bow-legged look, they're like, hey, let's articulate the knees. Let's articulate the elbows. So they added that little bit of articulation, and I think even the heads being on a ball joint instead of just, you know, the 5.
So they bobbled like this.
They do. They go like this.
It just I'm sure if you have an attachment to those, it's kind of cool, but it just wasn't for me.
Pop Culture and Plastic has joined us, coffee in hand.
How's it going?
Coffee.
I don't collect any Motu at all.
Yeah, do that, Vern. Look.
Yeah, look at that.
And
But
then
you can mix and match those. You'd think that I would totally be into that line because of the ability to like swap all the parts and stuff like that, right? But
pretty cool. And when those first came out, 4 years ago now, or give or take a year, they were $14 in Canada. So I was like, I have no problem paying $14 for Stratos and He-Man and all these figures that came out originally, because they were $10 cheaper than Black Series. They were cheaper than Vintage Collection and Retros. Like they were the cheapest action figure in the action figure aisle. I think they were also $15 in the US. Now they're actually $35 here in Canada. So I don't know how they got away with more than doubling the retail price on those.
My Walmart, it was $21 because I finally found that new Mr. T. But when I got up to the register and scanned it, I was like, oh no, there's no way.
I still need that Mr. T. I think Nathan has one for me, and I just got to pay him for it.
Yeah.
So thank you if you still have that, Nathan. You're appreciated. Never seen him in Canada at all. That wave or any of those.
I only saw the one. But getting back to why I don't collect the Motu really was when they came out, I was really into like drawing. And for some reason, I like to draw. I try to draw in a more realistic look, right? Like I wanted it to look realistic. And my friend, who also drew, mimicked what the Masters of the Universe figures look like, with like
the stylized
shape,
triangle,
kind of out of proportion when he drew his comics. And although like I liked it, I didn't like it because I wanted it to be more realistic. Because we did crossovers where, he would do books with some of my characters, and I didn't like the way my characters looked in his books, right? Because they had that.
I was just gonna say, like, it would be interesting if they ever did like a realistic kind of version of that, but I don't know. I really don't know anything about Motu, but I feel like that's probably a brand where if you did something realistic, or it would probably piss off everyone who likes it, because that's like part of the draw is like the very specific.
They've done
style.
it over the years. Like now, currently, the Masterverse is the
more realistic
bodies. But in the past, Mythic Legions, what are they called? There's Motu X, and then there's Motu Classics. When the Motu Classics came out, it was a very popular brand. It was a more expensive brand, but they were the 6-inch, more realistic looking figures comparable to Black Series and all the 6-inch toys. And now they're discontinued now, like they don't make them anymore, but they're the most expensive toys if you're to try and go back and recollect them now. They really held their value. Even still now that they've remade most of those characters in the Masterverse line, a lot of those characters, they're still highly sought after. They're pretty well made, but I mean they're not as well made as the Mythic Legions toys that are out there now, and commanding the $50 to $80 price range. But those are pretty cool toys, man. They're top quality toys. I'll give them that. I just can't afford them. They're too much.
When I saw that price, I was like, oh man. And I think I mentioned it last week, right? Like going into Walmart or Target and seeing the full price is just kind of hard when I'm upset, because I went to Ross earlier this morning and found Bazooka and
$5,
$5.99.
Dude. My Dollarama I saw last night got in like 4 cases of the Marvel retros. So there must have been like 30 figures on the page. Like they don't get a lot,
right?
But usually that's what they get. They did. I did miss out. They did have some Origins and some Masterverse and some McFarlane Dragons, which are like this big.
Those are cool.
Which retail for like $60 here for $5, but I haven't seen them in my store yet.
Right.
But we got a little bit of that discount that you guys got in the States, but we just have the small. It's not a small chain. It's not as big as Ross or whatever the other store is called. But yeah, they're in like every province in Canada, and every major city. It's our dollar store, our loony store, whatever you want to call it. So $5 for an action figure, no matter what it is a good deal. Like,
it is a good deal.
And they usually sell through them the day they put them out.
Yeah, and like I already have bazooka, but I was like, one, I like the helmet. Two, I like the bazooka and the rockets and the backpack. So easily the accessories, it's $5 worth of accessories, and then
it's a cool generic one with like a shirt too and some rolled up sleeves, so you can make a left coast GI Joe guy if you really wanted to.
He can be anything, yeah. So
you better show off those retros there that I can see. I can see retros, and you're not showing them off.
I do have a couple projects that I'm going to be working on, so I'm going to ask you guys for some help.
Okay.
First one is I found this guy in Etsy who makes these.
Oh, it's like a flocked head, Joe?
Yeah, in the 6-inch scale. So that will be one that's coming. And then I got this one. This is where I need the help. So I need everybody to put on their thinking caps and tell me which figure I could use that would have the appropriate red kind of jumpsuit with the loose fitting shirt for.
I had to get my thinking cap. Oh, is that Lee Majors?
Yeah, it's the
dude. How cool is that I recognize that? Like, boom.
Yeah, it's because
I put my thinking hat on.
It's a scan of that $6 million man figure. So
dude, that's badass.
I need to get a figure body that has like a suit like that, or
just get any figure body and get someone like Mr. B. Who is it? One of the guys in our community is a sewing machine.
Really? Oh man, I gotta figure that out.
Can make some soft goods. I love soft goods. I wish I could. Man, I have a list of soft goods I want for custom action figures. All of them have like Mr. T in them, but I mean, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So $6 million man's coming. Hello, peeps from Silver Scratch.
And who's going to be Lee Majors? What character?
No, I don't know. It's going to be the Lee Majors. I want to recreate that 15-inch $6 million man. So I want the red suit. The red jumpsuit shoot.
You need a fall guy, a 6-inch fall guy action figure.
Oh, I guess it could be because
I'm taking my thinking hat off. Not even paying attention.
Yeah, I guess really, I guess I could get another one and then just do like
tracksuit mafia fig for Lee Majors.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Except for they're like $75 now.
Really? Didn't they make didn't they re-release that at a multi-pack? No,
not yet.
I've never seen any of those at retail, so I don't know how good it looks.
I have one, but my problem is I don't know if I want to because it'll just in perpetuity just be this new figure. And if I had a second one, definitely. So this is the only. So I've been finding a whole bunch of Ahsokas and
$4. That's
There was one other one that I found, and so I had to pick that up because I know somebody here is looking for a very inexpensive retro. So I'm trying to stack up enough to fit in a box and ship them.
You could get
line to collect.
I'll give you a guess.
There you go.
By the way, Vern, you could get more of the Tracksuit Mafia figures from at least Big Bad Toy Store.
Are they available now?
Pre-order for this month.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go check it out. Maybe I'll end up with like a couple
on the social medias recently as a pre-order. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I didn't know because I was looking at on eBay yesterday, just hoping I can find like a loose one or something like that. But then check this out. I don't know if like maybe I should do. This is what I was thinking about for.
What show were they in?
What?
What
Disney Plus show?
Hawkeye.
Okay, so maybe we'll see them again.
Yeah, maybe. I did see these, and I'm thinking about for the GI Joe, maybe making like the Air Adventure or something like that.
Just get that and dye it red for Steve Austin.
Something like that. And so that's kind of going along with what you're saying is I could just like use any figure and then just make an outfit to go on top, kind of like I did with that Mr. T and the overalls.
Yeah, except Mr. T has to be black.
No, the one that I made with the overalls.
Yeah, no, I still what you need to do is you need to flock his hair.
No, I'm not gonna
Yes.
flock the
If you
hair.
do it every day on your
Okay.
own head, you should be able to do it.
Oh, you
on
mean
the
for this head, for the GI Joe?
Well, that one has hair sculpted to it, so it might make an extra afro-y if you flock on top of
No,
them.
I don't think so. I think
You need
all
like
of
a bald GI Joe and flock them
I
and
think
give him a
that
beard.
no, I think that when you look at them, I mean, look. When you look at these Joe heads, if you feel it, there is a raise in that where the head is. That is a 3D scan of a head.
Okay.
So I think like you know what? This was actually reflocked.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, you can see how far the hair comes down to the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you looked really close, you could see how the hair kind of isn't perfect around the edge. That's
Same with me. It's
yeah, and then you could see the sideburns is not right. This is like a little kid's haircut or something like that.
Have you made a stop motion video with like GI Joe's eyes going?
You don't need to make a stop motion because
You can have your thumb doing it.
Yeah, you could just move your finger on here. You could just have your finger doing it in the background, like.
Yeah, I can still see your finger burn.
Yeah,
I thought that I never had one of those as a kid, but I always thought they were brilliant. Like the kung fu grip, right? One thing.
I didn't know those
The
had that
moving
feature.
eyes and the flocked hair. Like those are three iconic vintage things added to action figures that we rarely see now. Like Mattel, that's who makes the Motu stuff. That's the only toy I've seen is the new Moss Man being flocked.
yeah.
And then they re-released that Panther as a flocked version. Like,
Right.
you don't see it a lot anymore.
You don't.
Maybe
You
it's
don't.
expensive and toxic, and will give everyone cancer, but it's cool.
Yeah. The original $6 Million Man was like 13 inches. He was like about like the Chewbacca, Star Wars Chewbacca's height. So the original GI Joes didn't have the moving eyes, Eric. What happened was in the mid 70s, 76 or something, another toy maker came up with that design for the movable eyes.
So they were just copying the gimmick.
And then, Hasbro, they licensed it from them to use in the adventure team. So that's how they got, and they called him Eagle Eye.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was Bob Breitland at Palatoy. He's the guy that created the Death Star, and I know for sure he created the grip because they used his hand as like the model, and I'm pretty sure he's the same guy who was behind the moving eyeballs and the flocking of the hair.
The flocking of the hair.
What the flock?
I'm trying to think of like any interesting toy innovations. Sorry, I'm thinking Disney stuff. Innovations from like when I was a kid. I know we had some like glow in the dark toys, but that's not a new gimmick. I can't really think of anything. Oh, there was like the kind of like flipping, like the Power Ranger action figures that would have the flipping heads and whatnot. That was new, and then I think they did that kind of stuff with the turtles, and they kind of made. I remember having versions of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you could go into like a turtle form, but then like the Ninja Turtle form, like you fold the parts into the shell and whatnot. So I think that was kind of like borrowing off of Transformers to a certain degree. Like
I would think concept. Those Kenner Ghostbusters, when they eventually came out with the next wave that had the fright features back in the day, where you push a button and their eyes poke out or their neck open, those were freaking brilliant. And it's neat that those are hitting the shelves again. And kids, I'm going to say kids will get to see those for the first time. And I think it'll do okay. Like, I don't think it'll just sell to older collectors. I think kids who might see those, although they don't have a button on the back of the package where you can test it to see what it actually does, they'd have to read and look at the pictures in the back to see it. But it's a cool gimmick from the early 80s.
That would actually be a good idea for a future episode kind of rank the most important
Gimmicks.
innovations or
Yeah.
gimmicks
Well,
to
let me tell you,
toys.
the problem with that
Hologram.
is we're gonna have this heated argument right in the middle of that when Rick says the most important toy development ever was the 3 3/4 inch Kenner Star Wars figure, because otherwise nobody in the world would ever collect action figures if these didn't exist.
It's true. The world might have even have ended in 1984 if there wasn't for Star Wars figures. I'm sure it would have just disappeared.
Probably.
Holograms on the Supernaturals and Visionaries, that was new tech at the time, right?
Yeah. Mask had great gimmicks. Because think about it. I mean, like at one point, those little rip cords, remember those rip cords? You would put them in and
talking
then
toys.
rip it, and then the car would like speed down the road like the
Oh,
evil dude or whatever, right? And then eventually there was like pull the car back and let it go. That's really
that's
cool
a good
right
one.
there.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Well,
Those-
this was one of my favorite toys as a kid.
You notice
Look at
all the coolest toys we're talking about were made by Kenner.
Was this Kenner? I don't
$6 million
remember.
man. You could roll up his sleeve and see like the little computer board. Like
Yeah,
that
that
is
is
so cool, man.
Yeah, Kenner.
Mr. B, he agrees with me. I don't know what I said for him to agree with, but
And do you remember the Big Jim figures?
well, those are still GI Joe
hold on,
Hasbro, right?
Let me go grab one.
And then I had this guy.
Eric's got good vintage toys, yeah.
All right, so
Where's his little bendy pole?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, lost it. I'm surprised. Like I'm surprised I found this and the Swamp Thing and my Wolverine that I'll grab here in a second. I found it in a bin after my mom moved out of her old house. These were my 3 favorite action figures.
Yeah, he comes with a little bendy pole and a rock.
Yep. Oh yeah, same. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's this, like 1992-ish?
Or early 90s. Yeah, that was when I was a kid. Yeah. And this Wolverine was, I remember my grandma took me to the local Toys R Us to get this. It came with a mask.
To the woke Toys R Us?
Local Toys R Us.
It's like, what the heck? When does it become?
Toys R Us is now part of HMV here in Canada. So Toys R Us stores, mine closed. So I have no Toys R Us really close to me. But now half of the store is like DVDs and Blu-rays and records. It's weird.
That's cool.
Yeah,
so like expect them to close.
I think
soon.
this came with like a sword and a mask, but I lost them, and there's paint issues and whatnot from playing with it. But
and these Toy Biz figures are still very affordable. If anyone wants to go back and collect a couple of their favorites, you know, like that carded Mr. T, I think I paid less than $20 for it a couple of years ago.
You guys remember Big Jim, right?
Yeah.
So the arm has this like kind of lifelike skin. That's why it's discolored. But if you put
I was going to say, what's going on? He's got some weird skin conditions.
It's Tucker tan.
But look at this. You say there's a button on the back. That's an innovation, right?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
But look at his arm. Ready? See, too bad Dino's not here for this. Ready?
This is brilliant. Look at that. Look at those pythons.
Oh wait, is there a joint in the elbow or?
There,
yeah, it makes a muscle. Check it out.
Kind of like Barbies did it at one time. Yeah, and his bicep actually flexes.
Crazy.
There's a modern toy that does that. I think it's like a Dragon Ball or one of those anime characters, but it's all plastic. There's no soft skin over it, but it's a plastic toy where you bend it and it has articulation and his bicep goes all geek strong.
Yeah.
That's a great gimmick there, Vern. Right there. That's a good one.
I don't see it, but you don't see it very often. But I mean, like they did it at one point.
I think that soft skin is totally toxic and maybe it would kill us all.
Probably.
But it's the same thing that all hot toys.
Get that out and do that, and then I
not all hot toys. A lot of the hot toys. A lot of the hot toys that have like lots of flesh showing. They had those seamless, silicone kind of things. It's weird that they didn't incorporate, big biceps into those.
So I did the video. I turned on. By the way, I learned this thing from watching somebody else's video where they talk about your analytics on YouTube, and they say if you do a video that's like slightly different than what you would normally do, like if you're trying to draw shorts or whatever, or you usually do Star Wars and you're going to do something off-putting, like an off-putting video, turn off the notification. Because what typically happens is that people who are responding to the notification are coming to see a specific type of video. And if you do something different, then they kind of like just click away, and it drives the thing down for recommending it. So when I did the video on these Palatoy Action Man, I turned off the notifications. But the reason why I mentioned
you mean you're not getting a notification if someone comments on your video?
No, I turned off the notification, so nobody who subscribed to my channel got a notification that I uploaded a new video.
I don't think that's what turn off notifications means.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I think it means you don't get notified.
Oh, it's when you're going through creating the video, there's that thing, send out notifications to all your subscribers. You can turn that off. You can turn that off.
I don't have that. Maybe you need to be monetized to do that.
No, I think you got to go to YouTube Studio and use it like on the computer. It's like on page 1 under more, like you click more and it drops a bunch of stuff where you can add tags and stuff.
I'm still learning. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyways, like I turned it off on that video because previously when I did the 12-inch GI Joe video, it was like, I think it recommended it out to everybody, and like very few people actually sat through it. So it just dwindled into nothing. This one's continuing to pick up the 1 or 2, and that's what they recommend for something that's off. But in that video was the Space Ranger outfit that I showed off, and it was like a rubber suit that you would have put on your figure, and it was from the late 70s, and it's like a rubber, and the suit that I have is sticky. It's how
don't shine a black light on it.
Yeah, you know how that it's gotten like all it's like tacky. So
you tried washing it with soap and water?
No, I don't. I don't know if that will work.
What? Absolutely will work.
You think so?
It might come back again in 6 years, that stickiness, but yes, you can. Anything plastic, if it's not paper and electronic, you can wash it with soap and water.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to try that because part of it was like falling apart, so I kind of didn't want to handle it too much.
Yeah, maybe be careful it's falling apart, but you should be able to wash it like just lightly, like.
And you think that gets rid of that stickiness on the rubber? I thought
it will for a little bit. I think it'll come back because it's part of like some chemical
deterioration of the rubber,
plastic.
Right?
It's a chemical reaction from being 40 years old. Like when they made these toys 40 years ago,
they weren't meant to last.
Totally fine. Toxic rubber, totally fine. Smoking in your car with 8 grandkids, totally legal and fine. Like things are different now. Like there's rules, and so you can't use lead paint and toxic chemicals in the toys. But yeah, they totally did when we were kids. That's why I'm bald, probably, and I'm not blaming Hasbro for my hair loss, but I'm blaming you, Hasbro. No one's laughing. Is there a delay? No one's laughing.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I haven't really looked up on eBay for if I can get like inbox versions of the toys I had. Yeah, might have to do that sometime.
Because you're a lot of late 80s, early 90s toys, right?
Yep.
Like I said, those Toy Biz ones are pretty realistic and cheap. Power of the Force, Star Wars, $1 each.
I have like big plastic containers in my storage room of all my Power of the Force 2 stuff.
I'll admit I'm so happy that I did get rid of and sell all of my modern Star Wars stuff before they started making Black Series and Vintage Collection, like all that Power of the Force stuff. I sold it all, and maybe let's just say I got $3,000 for it back in the late 90s. If I was to sell it today, I would get $11.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. It's not a vintage toy to me. It's vintage to younger generations, but it didn't hold its value too well. Like it's weird. Maybe in 10 years they'll be worth $100 a piece. You never know, right?
I'm holding on to them, not to like see if they're worth anything down the line, but just to give my kids to play with because
That's totally cool.
I don't
man.
because I don't feel like as much as
Wait,
I
you
love
said
those.
kids, plural.
Well,
Something we don't know.
not
Obviously
yet,
not going to stop. Come on.
Just
not
keep
yet.
practicing. Keep practicing.
They need the entire cast of A New Hope.
But it's it's more something like, even though I like the Power of the Force 2 line in the 90s, those were my Star Wars toys. I don't
Yeah.
have the same kind of attachment to them that like you might have for vintage Kenner, right?
I hear you. I hear you. 'Cause it was-
It's not the same. It like I had a lot of fun with them, but I have zero desire to go back and like army build buff stormtroopers or whatever, right?
Yeah, they
Oh,
had a
and I did. I'm not gonna lie, Eric. I had hundreds of buff stormtroopers of every and clones. I would go to. We had a Zellers store here, which is like Canadian Walmart back in the day. I would
Mhm.
go to Zellers, and they'd put all the new Episode 1 shock troopers. And I get there, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, they got 6 of them. $8 each, whatever it was back then. And I'd buy them all just so I had 20 of each color clone trooper. Like I was that much of a freaking nerd then. And also with those Power of the Force toys before that, like when me and Vern were young, like we barely had like electricity and color TV, let
had
alone like
electricity?
video games and internet and all these other things you can do now. So when we had toys, like that's what we did. Because we
when
couldn't
Rick
go
was a
watch
kid, he didn't have running water, and when he walked to school,
We had
it
to go
was
to the
in
well
snow,
in our
uphill
snowshoes.
to and from school.
Yeah.
I don't know why he went the other way to come home, but
That's where the well was.
those Power of the Force, like I did not like them because I felt like they were copying the Motu figures.
Yeah.
At the time, I loved them, man. We had 20 years of no Star Wars.
Yeah.
Put it that way. And then Star Wars came out again, as a re-release of the movie, and then as toys. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding me, man? I'm 21 years old and I'm geeking out. Like
the best part
brought me
about
back.
that line
It
though
brought me
were the vehicles. I don't have all of the vehicles I used to have as a kid, but my understanding is that they were the original molds, just
For the vehicles, yes, they were.
updated. So
like the Falcon and the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter. Yeah, for sure. They used a lot of original molds. But then they made a new Rancor with like rubber skin.
And the Motu muscles.
And it's interesting. I wouldn't doubt we don't see some of those again. I don't know anything, but like I can see Hasbro, if not for the retro collection, for the vintage collection, maybe re-release some of the better.
But that's the thing. Like, not to say that there wouldn't be like some demand for those, because I can't speak for everyone. But like, I'm about as big of a Star Wars fan as you could possibly find, and like pretty big collector as well. But like, I just have zero desire to go out and get those. I'd probably, and like, I don't plan on collecting like vintage Kenner or even the retro line that exists today, but I'd sooner do that than go get like the Power of the Force 2 toys or retro versions of those, because they're just not as accurate. Like that's why I love Black Series so much, is because they're like probably like those are the toys I would have loved to have had as a kid. Yeah,
but I think they're going to continue to do that crossover where they like make Black Series figures from Power of the Force versions, like they did with that Cantina or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think we'll see a few more this year, like on those retro I'll call them retro card backs, because they're retro to the when Episode 1 first came out. And what did we get? Darth Maul and Jar Jar and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and those card backs, and that appealed great to collectors Eric age, and people our age still bought those because it was just a cool,
I think
nostalgia feeling on a figure that's only 20 years old.
Card backs is one thing, but I wouldn't want to see Hasbro waste production and design efforts trying to reproduce the buff look from the.
But wouldn't you want like
I don't think
Black
they would do
Series
that
version of the Luke in that like red outfit that he came with that Power of the Force style or Dash Rendar or something like that, but in Black Series, maybe on that card back. I think that would be like a really cool.
It could happen, man.
I wouldn't want to see the like stylized figure, the card.
No, not stylized figures, like just like a Black Series, but modeled after the one that they came out with for Power of the Force.
What do you mean by modeled?
So they had that Luke in the like the red kind of stormtrooper-ish outfit or whatever.
Oh, that's expanded universe. Yeah.
And then they had the Dash Rendar, and they had them in that Power of the Force style, but they can totally make those characters in Black Series and then just put them on the card.
Okay,
Shadows of the Empire or something.
Normal looking Black Series figure, just card.
Yeah,
yes.
I think I said that last week or the week before. I do predict a Left Coast theory that we will see Shadows of the Empire anniversary Black Series figures. I think for sure.
That's exactly why I said it today and tried to capitalize it as my idea.
When did those come out? Was that 95?
I don't know.
95?
Yeah, something.
Because it came out around the same time as N64.
It's the anniversary of Shadows of the Empire this year as well, so I can see
Okay, so I was gonna say whether it was 94 or 95, they should the opportunity would be to sync up with the anniversary. Yeah.
And since Dave's stealing from those taking, borrowing, using from those expanded universe stories, the Heir to the Empire story with Thrawn, and then the only other story that I thought was just as good, if not better, I actually liked it better, was the Shadows of the Empire story. What was between Empire and Return of the Jedi. I thought that was just a cool thing to drop, whether it was comic books, and they made video games and they made the toys, but they actually made a story. Like it was books and it was comic books. They had Boba Fett and IG-88 and Prince Zizor and Dash Rendar, and like I said, Luke in that red kind of Imperial thing, and dark Jedi Luke and dark kind of Jedi Leia, clone Emperor. There's a lot of characters that we haven't seen brought back to canon that still could happen. Dave's known to do stuff.
Dave who?
Like that, right?
Who's this Dave character you're talking about?
Oh, Mr. Cartoon Filoni.
Who's that?
Dave Filoni, the dude. The dude with his cowboy hat.
Does he have anything to do with Star Wars?
Here's my Dave Filoni cosplay.
Who dat?
Oh my gosh.
I entered a debate today. Someone made a custom figure of Nick Sant. If you know who Nick Sant is in the chat,
and
put an N.
Jedi.
Yeah, it's a scout trooper with a beard and he's
not a scout trooper.
Biker scout trooper.
Yeah. Well, no, he was okay.
Well, that's the character.
He just changed the name of the.
He changed his clothes into more camouflage stuff at some point in the movie. But I mean, a lot of the younger generation call him Rex. And here's what's happening. I'm telling you right now, they've erased Nick Sant from StarWars.com database. He's not on. He was on there like a month ago. He's been
do you have a screenshot? Do you have a screenshot?
No.
Okay,
but they've erased him.
You could use the way back machine.
Let's do it.
Dave is going to change Nick Sant into Rex. I'm telling
I haven't done it.
It is happening. He's doing it. He's erased them.
Eric's going to go back to the Wayback Machine, which keeps records of websites, and he's going to look up your character based on 1 month and 1 day ago.
It was for sure. It used to be on Star Wars database.
You know what's funny to me about? We'll talk about it when we get into the hot or not, because we'll just wait till we get there. Never mind.
Did anyone? I know you haven't got to the hot or not, but that new Headhunter vintage collection ship, I think is badass and cool, and I probably will get one.
The E-wing?
Yeah. But
you guys want to just do that then?
I don't like it because it was in Ahsoka. I like it because I knew it from comic books and expanded universe and stuff.
And welcome everybody to the hot or not section, where we go over the toys that are being peddled to us this week by all the major toy retailers around the country and even the smaller ones. and throw in your vote whether or not you think they are hot or not, whether or not you would add it to your collection. I don't know why is not like red too. It should be like cold, like ice. I don't know why it changed. But anyways, the very first thing that we have to talk about is the New Republic E-Wing that was seen in one episode of Ahsoka on the Disney Plus series, with a pipeline reveal for Lieutenant Callahan. And Sir Eric really appreciates the idea of the pipelining a character that was in one episode of Ahsoka and doesn't have anything upcoming or pending in the Star Wars universe, versus having a pilot who's been in like almost every single Disney Plus series and has never been pipelined.
Oh, pick me. I have a question. Did that lady have a spoken line of dialogue in all of the Ahsoka series? Because I think she did.
Team 5 coming in.
The black guy did. The black guy had all the dialogue.
More dialogue than she did.
He's the one that chased Sabine down and parked the thing. So,
hold on. My understanding is why they chose her is because that was her droid. So like they wanted to make something. Look, I'm not saying. I know you're not 100% serious with the criticism, but like, is she the like pivotal character we needed? No, but she is the character that goes with this particular E-Wing and this particular droid. The male character was probably the one that probably made
flying an E-Wing at all.
Huh?
Was he in an E-Wing?
Yes, they were both.
Okay.
So
there was a couple of them.
Okay. So it was a roll of the dice, basically.
But there were two different droids, and they picked her droid and her to do. So fine. Okay. So I'm gonna get it. Like to your point about, I do want to address like what you're talking about with Carson Teva, because I'm a huge fan.
He's coming.
But here's the thing,
Rick. There's no pipeline.
But here's the thing with him. I almost hope, I'm starting to hope that at least for TVC, they hold off on making a vehicle for him, because I'm hoping that in future, whether it's Disney Plus series or movies, they give him a more unique starfighter, not an X-Wing. I want to see him get like some special ship.
Okay, but here's why I think that's not going to happen, because if you
probably not
either. If the E-Wing, and I had to go look this up, by the way,
didn't
become canon until recently because it was considered legend, right?
Correct.
So this E-Wing is sort of like our new fighter that we have or whatever, where it's been riddled with problems. The first generation of this fighter was supposedly riddled with problems, right? Like from the laser cannons, where the position of them wasn't good. The original droid that they used on it was supposedly the most expensive droid ever to be built and designed, and the first version of the ship could only be flown with that specific droid. And so it wasn't until like the later model that it became more universal, and that it could work with an R5 or an R2 unit, is the way like I read about it. So there's like a little bit of like a history of this thing was supposed to be super advanced, but it just wasn't designed very well. It had a bunch of flaws. So the article that I read made it seem like the pilots of the day were kind of sticking with the X-Wing because it was like the tried and true. It's like, I guess if you look at Top Gun and they got those new fighters, and then they bring out that old F-14 or something like that,
which is no longer used.
Right.
Kind of weird.
It would have been something similar to like next gen fighters versus that one that they were flying, maybe, where this one's kind of like the new one, and there's like a new ship, whatever, you know what I mean? So I think Teva, because of his age and the way they portray him, I have this feeling that he's basically like an X-Wing pilot, because he's going to stick with his fighter.
Probably.
Yeah.
For sure. And they have an existing mold, and they just got to put new stripes on it.
But Hasbro doesn't get, like, Hasbro could go off and say, like, okay, even if Lucasfilm does give him a special starfighter, he wasn't an X-Wing, and they're just going to do a repaint of the X-Wing that we already have, right? They could do that. My hope is at least like Lucasfilm says, like, oh, we got to give him something special, something unique,
Right.
and that would hopefully make Hasbro think, oh, we could do a brand new Starfighter just for him. That would be cool.
And I'm actually like Vern, like I'm actually more than very surprised that they have not made a Carson Teva figure in any scale or size. I don't even think they made a Funko Pop of him. I could be wrong, but I'm
They
just
have a helmet.
surprised. Like he's a
I have the
fan
helmet,
as
yeah.
much as he's been in like 80% of the content on Disney Plus.
It's got to be just a matter of time for the figures,
sure.
right?
Because it's
like,
just a new head sculpt, really. Like
no, they really do. They really do need a different body sculpt. And
they do need to add something to make Carson Teva look more realistic. And here's what I really think about the Carson Teva. I don't think
this one's
pipelined him. Yeah, I don't think that they've pipelined him, but what I think they're going to end up doing is, in probably maybe their May stream abouts, we're just going to see a final version of him, and he's going to be able to go on like pre-order for arrival later this year. I think he's already been in the works, and I think that they just didn't pipeline him. And then when that happens, Eric, this is going to be another conversation we're going to have about the whole pipeline process. If they reveal him for release or pre-order without ever having pipelined him, yet they spend so much time pipelining an archive collection Darth Vader that we already have.
Yeah, but I get it. They don't like to tease everything. They like to some surprises to come.
I would like that they be super transparent, but they do withhold information. Like this, for example, this is clearly something that they could have announced on their earlier stream. Or
they could have,
probably should have, but like they saved it for whatever kind of website to tease out, which is just kind of weird. But whatever.
I almost feel like they're going to do the Star Wars stream. They're not going to reveal the Carson Teva, and then they're going to let Paul Lee reveal it himself. That's what I think.
So that's one big reason why they probably, if they have been working on figures for him, which I hope they have, they probably wouldn't have done any announcement without him because of the strikes, right?
Oh yeah, that makes sense too.
Right.
So they will for sure make him in all the collections, retro, vintage, Black Series.
Yeah,
and I bet you the vintage collection one comes, you have to get the ship to get him. So you have to spend $150.
No, I hope they don't. Yeah,
it's what they do. So they're going to do it.
You know what? Maybe they X-wing the next HasLab with multiple sticker packs, and he's like a tier.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways,
I want to see. I wouldn't want to see him put behind like some price wall or whatever. Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll do a version or something like that. I do want to thank Dino over at Geek Strong for the super chat. I really appreciate it, and thank you for
Dino.
We were talking about you earlier, Dino.
We had all the vintage figures out, and we were like, too bad Dino's not here to like break out some vintage figures too. Too bad that segment's over. But anyways.
And Vern's already edited out while we've been talking. He's back there.
But did anyone get this or I pre-ordered it?
Okay, so we have Josh saying that he likes it. It's hot, but it's a little bit overpriced. We have Pop Culture and Plastic saying it's a pass.
The best thing about this is the Kenner style droid. And if you looked at his name, Yakface figured it out. It kind of says Kenna. Like if you take the 4 as an A and you read it in that English style, which is a great nod.
Yeah.
As it was originally a nod when we first saw it in the trailer and the episode, blew me away. It was probably the best part of the whole Ahsoka series, to be straightforward, like was seeing that big-eyed astromech and the little teardrop, which is right out of the Kenner R2. So if they don't make this figure in the retro collection, I will shave my beard.
Okay, it's a deal.
Kenner, edit that out, Vern. I take it all back.
Connor is saying that he's late because he was celebrating my birthday, but he wants to know, maybe Eric, do those blue exhaust effects in the picture come with the ship?
They're just stickers.
Stickers.
Or it's why it costs $100 because it actually shoots blue fire.
All right, I did try to look up Lieutenant Callahan on like the Wikipedia or whatever.
Good luck.
That's a crappy name. Like, one thing I don't like is like that's not a Star Wars name.
It's
a
also
Star
not
Trek
a
name.
Hispanic
It's a
woman's
Star
name.
Trek name. She should be the engineer.
I'm pretty sure she's of like Spanish descent, and it's like
Listen.
isn't that an Irish name or like,
Yeah.
This is what I'm
wrong?
talking about. On Deep Space Nine, I missed this question, but O'Brien is the engineer. And on the Enterprise, come on, who is it?
McCoy?
Scotty,
Scotty.
right? And then you got Callahan here. Maybe she should have been the engineer.
I get it. I'm all for any new characters they make. I'm not complaining. It's just it was kind of weird that they announced this like 24 hours later. Like it wasn't planned, and they're like,
no,
"Oh,
he announced it
Maybe
during
we'll
that
get
little
more
3-minute presentation. He actually, when he's talking about it, he leads off, and there's going to be an included pipeline reveal, but he reveals it midway through that little 3-minute.
He didn't say who it was though. It was a separate post.
No. In the video.
Yeah, he didn't mention her name in the video.
Yeah, I think he
the
did.
video. They showed see the video at 2 minutes.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. In any case, I'm not miffed about it being her or whatever, but it is. I was just pointing out that's not a Star Wars name. I don't know where that came from. I'm guessing that was maybe a nod to someone.
So negative, Eric.
Like
It could be the actress's real name, but I
behind this whole
maybe Dave Filoni is friends with someone named Callahan, right?
Well, yeah, we just got to figure out maybe where that name came from.
What's it say backwards?
And basically, Connor's calling you guys out for saying that Scotland and Ireland are actually different countries there, Rick.
Yes.
He wants you to learn some geography.
I'll go learn it now.
Right. All right, let's see. We got some page punchers that they revealed this week. Transformers page punch. Oh,
not my thing.
Like really? They came out. They'll be in the stores quick. Watch, man. Todd wastes no time.
We're like ready to go.
He reveals a toy, and you can find it in Walmart the day before yesterday,
or the day before he reveals it. In some cases, then more page punch GI Joe page punchers. Anybody?
What I like about these is these are comics you can't get anywhere else. So that's, I think if any adult collectors do get these, because I think they're really geared towards children and cheap little, stocking.
These comics will, end up like.
Toys. But the comics is what's going to make older generation buy them because they're original comics. So, like, if Super John has every GI Joe comic and Transformer comic ever printed, from 1980 and on, kind of thing, and these are new stories, he will probably get these. I'm just saying, like, it's a good draw. Todd's a comic guy, so if he makes a deal with Hasbro that they make 30% profits off these with the licensing deal, whatever it is, Todd's going to make 100% because of the comic books and maybe drive more people to collect these series of comics. So it's interesting.
I see like a parent maybe picking it up for the comic and then just being able to give the toys to their kid, right?
Sure.
Let's see. Josh is saying it's not for him. They're his thing. He does find a little charm in the small figure.
I can confirm
what's the
these
scale?
are not big sellers in Canada.
They're like 3 inches or something, right? The page punchers?
2.5, really.
2.5. They're like, so maybe mask size. Is that right?
A little bigger than mask.
Okay, so not compatible, but you could get the little cars and stick these in. Maybe
I never thought about that, Fern. If maybe they are compatible, like as scale wise goes. Like maybe Cobra Commander there will fit in your ramen noodles mask vehicle thing. Like maybe.
Did he do the Pacific Rim also? Page puncher?
Not that I've heard of.
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be a weird property to get.
All right, what is this?
Just a cool custom Lego someone made, and I thought I'd share it.
That is actually pretty cool. So this is not an actual set. This is something somebody built.
This is fan made.
Wow. Too bad John's not here to give.
There was a lot of other pictures of this. I just shared this one because it's like, look, sir, droids, you know.
Yeah, that is actually really cool. All right, anyways, this is not something you can buy. So, well, you can buy Legos and you can make your own.
You could.
Challenge out there.
This is not AI. Someone actually did make this.
Okay, so don't go to
I don't know if
AI
glue
and just
was
say
involved
Lego
or-
Storm Sand Trooper and then show you a picture and say I'm done.
I guess. I think this would sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, it's
Like,
pretty cool. I mean,
Considering like the Lego flowers sell very well, they make lots of weird Legos where you can make it a parrot or a boat or a palm tree, like, you know, not a transformer, but you can build 3 different things out of it. I think those
Lego
are
could
great ideas by Lego.
They could easily sell this if they
Look,
made it.
Absolutely, man.
Because
Because
I
it'd be
got to read this out loud.
$200, right?
Yeah, tell me. Okay, so Dino says I collect all page punchers. ... Kidding. ... So he does collect them.
Triple negative.
All right.
Double,
Yeah, I think he
triple.
just countered his not, or his he does. Anyways, Super 7. Anybody? Super 7.
I don't know, but like I don't collect these personally. I don't really collect any of the GI Joes by any of the companies, but they're going all in, man, until you know their deal ends with Hasbro. They're going to keep making these cartoon 7-inch figures. Soon we're going to see the O-ring 3.75 based on these very same cartoon characters. It's going to be around a few years. I think Super 7 made a deal, and you know the only way that deal ends is if nobody actually buys these. And I think over the past year or two, it's proven people do ask. Some people are buying them. They're somewhat successful, right?
Yeah, if you wait these out, you know, right now they're like 50, 55 or something. If you wait them out, I've seen them like dropping into like the 20s, like $22, $23 for the ultimates and stuff like that. They're really cool. The problem is the scale. They're like the 7-inch scale.
7-inch, yeah.
Just does not fit with my collection. So that's the unfortunate part of it.
I agree, and I recommend all action figure companies who are watching, you're all watching right now, stop with the 7-inch crap.
Stop with this like weird scale thing.
Go
Make
universal, especially McFarlane. McFarlane's got Page Puncher. He's got Superpowers. He's got McFarlane. He's got, oh man, just too many sizes, man. Come on.
I think me and Connor are on the same page there. If they scaled 112, I definitely would have picked up. I did think about the bat, because it's like a robot anyways or whatever, right? It's mechanical,
works, yeah.
So it could work being a little bit bigger than everybody else, but it'd have to be on sale. What about this Daredevil versus Hydro Man, which I think, did this come out of like nowhere?
Yes,
it did, yeah. I love the translucent plastic. I think it's
Yeah,
hot right now, and every company's going to take advantage of it.
It's interesting though that, like, you know how we don't see a lot of crossover between lines with Star Wars reusing Hasbro parts and stuff like that, but they just came out with those translucent Star Wars figures, and now with the Hydro Man, I feel like they just said, "Hey, look, we can use this really cool plastic." And
well, they started with the Crystar guy. Crystar guy was first from Marvel Legends,
and then
is there GI Joe translucent figures yet?
Not yet.
There will be. I think there will be.
I feel like because this is what's supposed to be a cell shaded Daredevil, right?
I think so, right? Is it?
Because it looks a bit. It looks a bit over the top. I'd actually consider getting it for that Daredevil. I'm one of the few people that kind of likes the cell shaded figures that they've done, but I don't know.
I like Hasbro's cell shading a little better than the Super 7 cell shading I've seen. The Super 7 shell shading, you know, that word.
Daredevil, to
it's
me,
a little over the top, but I get it. It's if they're gonna base it on as an artist guy, like I get it. If you're going after the comic book or the cartoon look where they only used a certain amount of colors and that's how they achieved, you know, what was with the cell shading, I get it. There is, I think, a little bit of a market for it. Like, so if you're collecting this, chances are you already collected some of the previous cell shaded characters, and you know, it's a little grouping of toys that are cell shading.
Yeah.
But now McFarlane's got the translucent blue Batman coming out, and translucent Green Lanterns, and all these companies are going all in, man. Turtles of Grayskull got some translucent green, was it Beastman looking guy or Mossman? So all the companies are doing it. It's a trendy thing right now.
Yeah.
I dig it. When Marvel did the retros, they got the Marvel retros, the Iceman, and a couple. Those are great, man. Like I always love those.
Yeah, I
And
did
then
like all the
the-
poses, all the shots. I put them together to try to make
Yeah.
it look like it was like,
It looks good.
you know,
That
different-
superhero pose.
It- It looks cool. I just think they maybe had a little bit too much black on the figure.
yeah, you're probably right, Eric. It looks cool, but yeah, I didn't realize it was cell shading. But now that I'm looking at it, does a little too much maybe. But they're trying to capture him like at night, right? So that's why he's got that dark look.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he only works at night, right?
I don't know.
Not that it matters. He's blind. He can't see in the daytime either. So what's that matter? I didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, look how much bigger that blue guy is. He's a little beefier.
Or is Daredevil just shorter than your average figure?
I don't think so. I think that's a reuse.
I'm
They
pretty sure
reused
that's
that body 1,000 times.
Isn't that like the Spider-Man body or something?
Look how
doesn't
big.
have the
Look at Daredevil's thighs compared to big, bulky Blue Man's thighs.
Well, that's because he's got to be able to hold on to his little container on the other
So-
side.
that's wrong. The
looks like
thighs should be bigger on the big blue guy.
it looks like it's the same body as this
Yeah.
Deadpool
could be,
because it's
yeah.
got the bendy toes too.
Oh, it could be. Yeah. All right. Let's. Oh, these are more of the patrons. Why are they out of order? Oh, okay. And then some Transformers. Anybody?
I love this comic cover as a kid. I'll always remember this comic cover until the day I die. It's one of my. If I bought 100 comics in my lifetime, this was one of them. I for sure bought this comic. I'll always remember this cover. I think this toy will sell well just because of that box art.
Just because of the box. It's a unique thing when they do these boxes, like those Star Wars boxes. I usually just get rid of all of my boxes, but I am holding on to all these.
Those are great. I love those
Yeah.
boxes.
Even though
the
there's
publishing
figures in
line.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw somebody put the newest Chrysanthemum figure in that older Chrysanthemum box, and it fits
Yeah.
perfectly. And it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's
For
the
you-
way it should have
you
been. Right?
inboxers out there.
Yeah, they should have just did that. And then here's the other one. They do look cool. I mean, the box looks really cool. It's a good idea. I like the fact that because when they did some of these, which one was it? I
Super John
think
is
it was
for
even
sure getting these.
the Chrysanthemum, right? Like this box doesn't have a window.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
kind of silly.
So,
I'm glad that didn't last long.
Yeah. And then we saw this last week on Twitter, so I thought I'd pull this up. It was only limited to 150, so I imagine they're all gone now.
It's pretty cool. It's 1/6 scale. I'm not a big 1/6 scale collector,
Yeah, 12-inch.
but it's cool.
The $6 million man, funnily to me, looks more like Kurt Russell's son than Lee Majors in this.
Yeah, the head that you showed off earlier looks better than this one.
Yeah.
But then again, this is not a licensed product, so they don't have the rights to use
The
Lee
likeness.
Major's likeness. So that's probably
Oh, so
why.
they had to change it a little bit. Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
could be wrong, but I'm 99.8% sure this is not officially licensed product.
It looks really cool though.
But yeah, Bigfoot magnets onto that log, which is pretty cool. Like soft goods. He's got like a belt and a belt buckle like that. Yeah, it's cool, man. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not my scale. Even though it's Bigfoot.
Come on, Rick. We know you want it.
This Bigfoot's good.
All right. What about this?
It's trying to make this better. You
Spawn?
can't make this better. This is one of the better toys they've ever made.
So these spawns are basically going to be like the McFarlane DC superheroes, right? Basically, is what they're going to be, just in spawn form.
As long as it's not a statue, like he still makes statue figures, and I don't get it. Like he's originally made statue figures or like no articulation spawn figures back in the day, which kind of revamped the whole modern action figure line. He was a big part of that. But I don't know. Some of these I think are still, he still makes statues, which I don't think they're as popular. Plastic statues. People like heavy, cold cast, or porcelain or whatever they make statues out of.
I see a lot of those little, Bandai has those little statues of all their characters, and people seem to like them. They've been showing up at,
Because they're cheap. They're
Yeah.
they're not cheap, but I mean they're not as expensive as a Gentle Giant bust,
I think-
so to speak.
those are the things I think people would take to their office maybe and throw on their desk or something because they're kind of cool looking. They don't. There's no posing or anything like that. Nobody's gonna mess
it's a
with.
badass looking character. I bought all the Spawn back in the day. I loved them.
Yeah.
They were original and cool.
The Spawn thing is another thing because like on the Toy Jeopardy, I was going to tell John on that Toy Jeopardy, he said that the #1 selling toy in the 80s or whatever,
90s Ninja Turtles. That was the
was
final
Ninja
question.
Turtles, but I think it's Spawn. I do think it's Spawn. And if you just Google it right now, Eric, I bet you'll come up with Spawn.
Well, Ninja Turtles kind of, I guess that line kind of ended in the very early 90s, maybe 91, 92. And then Spawn kind of just started and got big over a 5 or 6 year period. So there's, there's
because if you're talking about a decade, though, that's what we were talking about. I think like overall Spawn was probably the most popular. I just remember Spawn.
I don't know if it's going to come up, but McFarlane's making a 2-pack with a Todd McFarlane action figure. I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, that is really cool. Is he going to beat up?
I'll buy that just because of that.
What about this? Oh, just for the Todd McFarlane?
For sure, man. What? It's cool, isn't it?
Yep. And then you'll pose him with a big gigantic pencil.
Oh, I'll give him some poutine and a Canada flag and stuff. He's a good Canadian kid, that Todd guy.
I'm looking forward to finding this guy at Ross next year with the rest of the monster figures.
With his diapers?
I don't know. What is it?
I don't like that crotch at all. Sorry.
No? Well,
some crotches I do like. I don't like his crotch.
It's probably like representative of how the suit looked, right? It was like a weird looking suit.
No, that's just how NECA designs their action figures, that they all wear diapers.
Is that what it is?
It's kind of weird, man. But look at all those heads and cowboy hat.
That is kind of cool. The hat. I don't know if is that a cowboy hat or is that like a fedora?
I don't know. Open it up, Vern. Let's have a look.
I don't have it.
I think it's a taller hat, if I remember that character correctly.
Oh, you could be. It's 30s, right? 1930s is when you would have saw this one. 30s or 40s or whatever. All right. And then I know we went over these Dungeons and Dragons, but apparently they have a deal over at Super 7 that if you pay the exorbitant price of pre-ordering the whole wave, you get this bonus super pack, which appears to come with like another bow and arrow and sword, but they glow in the dark.
Cool gimmick.
Yeah. So I guess that's, to throw that in to get you to pay for this. And then I saw that they had the Silverhawks kid over there on Super 7, which to me, I'm like, oh, okay, so another Silverhawks. I just saw all the Silverhawks for like $20 on Amazon. So I don't think the original ones are big sellers, or they just overproduce.
It's not that they overproduce. It's when the retailers like Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon, whoever order these, they might just order more than they think they're going to sell. So it's not any part or any fault of Super 7. Super 7 still sold them to the retailers. So if those retailers end up selling for $20, Super 7 doesn't give a flying fart about it. Like they sold them for, full wholesale price to these resellers. And if the resellers at the end of the year need to make some money to pay some bills, they discount everything, as much as they possibly can to make some funds. Like, so I get it. Like, it happens. Why you guys saw all those toys at Ross and, dollar stores. It's in some cases, yes, they are directly from Hasbro, but not directly. Like I found out I bought a bunch of retros a couple weeks ago at my dollar store, and I saw them on the cart ready to go on the pegs. I saw Star Wars retro in a sealed box. I'm like, hey, can I just buy this box? And the guy's like, sure, or whatever. And on that box, I have it still. It has a sticker on it that says it's from Hasbro, from Hasbro to this third-party company. So this third-party company wasn't the dollar store. It was another company. I looked them up. They're a company that sells to dollar stores. So there, in a lot of cases, there is a third party in between. So Hasbro might sell a bunch of those GI Joes or that stuff you guys found at Ross to this third party company, who then turns around and sells it to several different discount stores. But in some cases, yes, they will get them directly from Hasbro, but not a lot. Like it's these thrift companies, these dollar store kind of companies. Most of their product comes directly from, third party overstock sellers, or it's directly made for the dollar store, from the manufacturers with special packaging with their price tags or their suggested retail on it. That's a big part of how those companies work, right? It is here in Canada. It might be different in the States. But these aren't for me. Like, I was a little older when the Silverhawks and stuff came out. Like, I thought they were cool. When I see them at toy shows now, the vintage stuff, because they got vac metal on them, I think they're cool just because of that. So whenever they produce them that don't have vac metal, I have no idea why they even consider making these without vac metal. Because I'm pretty sure if this character existed in 1986 or whenever this toy line came out, I'm pretty sure it was vac metal copper, wasn't it?
Like, yeah, but is that going back to
why they're called Silverhawks?
Is that going back to your thing where you're saying, like, when they made toys back in the day, they didn't care that lead paint wasn't good for you. They didn't care.
True, but I mean, Super 7 does make vac metal products.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, like, what's the cost on that, right? To do a whole figure like this,
right?
And what's the?
It depends on where you get it done, I guess. It's probably at one price in China, a different price in India, and then a different price in Taiwan. Like, it might be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there is lead paint rules and stuff. So, I don't know. I like vac metal. I've always thought it was a cool gimmick or whatever on a toy, right? Like,
that was the only reason why I was considering getting that one A New Hope retro pack, because it did have the vac metal.
It's like the first vac metal Hasbro's made in 30 years, I think.
But yeah, they sold out. I commented, I'm like, I'd pick it up if the other set went on sale, but that one sold out. I wasn't expecting that to go out so quick. Yeah.
I saw it early and I shared it on Facebook and in the social medias, and it went pretty quick, man, when I hit my retro Star Wars group. And I did get a couple sets because that's what I could afford. If I could afforded more, like if I had more extra scratch, I would have bought like 10 of them. Like literally, just to get a bunch of Jawas and Tusken Raiders. Like, come on, man. $4, like that's cheaper than buying them at Ross. Like, so here's my my hopes. That box set will make it to a discount chain. Maybe. I don't know, because we haven't seen too many, like
the one that was on sale.
Exclusives. Yeah, like if Hasbro's putting them on sale.
But if they're
there's a container full somewhere. Yeah, but that's just Hasbro sold them out. Like, that doesn't mean they don't still have it.
I think they were the only ones that carried that one
in the Disney store.
Oh, and Disney had it too.
Yeah, and they still have it at full price, $79.
Because I remember I was at Celebration in Anaheim when the first set came out with Luke and Vader and whatnot.
They still have lots of those. So if we're going to see it, one of those box sets at a discount store, it'll probably be that set with Luke and Vader and Chewie and Han, because it already came to retail as individual figures, right? In the first wave of retros. And then Hasbro repacked it on a little thicker card and put it in a cool box. And I think a lot of people that did buy them originally bought them again just to get that box. I didn't, just because it was like $80. That's like $100 American or Canadian. I already have multiples of all those figures. I'm not going to spend $100 just to get that box. So when they went on sale, that second set, I was like, okay, please be the other set on sale too, so I can get a box. But it wasn't. So,
Rick,
retro.
Please describe the vacuum metal processing.
Like chrome.
It's not like chrome, right? They put it in a vacuum chamber where they can bring up the temperature of like the metal with like whatever, so it reaches like a super boiling point, which would instantly create a coating on whatever they're putting on, and then when it like cools, it like hardens over the top. It's different than, right? Like chroming is basically spray painting, or is chroming the same?
Well, it actually uses chemicals. Like, you actually need a positive charge into your vat of chemicals, because there's chemicals involved that you shouldn't just touch. You can do this at home. Like look on YouTube how to vac metal stuff. You can do it. You can go to Michael's or Amazon and buy whatever products you need to make vac metal, make jewelry, stuff like that. It's a little more of a complicated process than just flocking your figure, but it's a similar. Like there's electricity somehow involved with flocking figures at home. Like there's certain techniques that are
not safe
for kids. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I've been looking into this flocking, by the way, for this thing. And one method is like the shake method, where you just have it like a shaker and you shake it, but then you get like, you'll get the odds that come down or whatever. That electrified process supposedly adds some static electricity, which kind of like makes
it stand up.
The hair will go like that, but it'll stand back up. So that's to get the better.
It's been around a long, like before, even when G.I. Joe did the flocked hair, like that was just a toy manufacturing thing. But the guys who make their own custom railroads and those kind of dioramas, you know, even way back in the 70s and 80s, there's always guys making big train sets.
Like,
it's used for the grass and stuff still. Like it's still
and apparently
like electricity and stuff.
If you're doing like making like a jewelry box or a box, that inside might not be like a felt. It could be like a flocking that they do, you know, or like the wooden ducks that have that flocking on the outside to make it seem more realistic, like a bird.
That's it. It was probably created by accident. Like someone was probably trying to like invent a cure for cancer, and they're like, "Oh, look, we figured out how to make grass stand up with electrons." So you never know. Like I'd love to know the history of how it got invented, or who gets credit for it.
Yeah.
Electroplating. Let's see. Can you make a paperweight out of an action figure, you know, in case the square clear, you know what I mean?
Paperweight out. Yeah, sure.
All right. Don't know what that's a probably inside joke.
Hey, Ricardo.
Yo.
All right. I didn't understand that. That was an inside joke. I was way over my head.
You had to be there.
You had
next.
Was that all the action figure reviews?
I think that's all that I had. Yeah, that I was able to pick up. I know you've been throwing a lot of stuff in that folder.
It's because there's a lot of crap revealed this week.
Yeah, a lot of stuff comes out.
The one Star Wars item.
Well, the ones that I grabbed were like the Marvel. That's pretty much like what I saw. I think
of all the toy companies, though, like just props again to good Canadian kid Toddy McFarlane for producing so many damn toys, man. Like he's got to be the leader in all, not for sales, but I mean for the amount of freaking product he puts out. Like he is, man, it's unbelievable, man. Like I think there's 8 or 10 different McFarlane reveals this week that went up, or that he revealed and that went up for pre-order, and between Amazon exclusives and Walmart exclusives and Target exclusives and Todd McFarlane store exclusives, and like dude is tearing it up, man. And like I said, some past streams when I talk about Amazon affiliates and sales like that, it's by far, like, and I'm a Star Wars guy, and a lot of people who follow me are also Star Wars collectors like you guys. It's my best selling product on my Amazon affiliate stuff for the past couple of years. Like
what, McFarlane stuff?
All of it, man. It's crazy.
Hey, so I got to ask you a question about your pins. How did your millennial pins? How are those going?
What's a millennial pin?
So the pins you made for the millennials.
Oh, the Blue Man Crew. They're in production.
Nice. Did you sell out?
No, I need to sell more, because when I don't sell, like, let you just pick a number, 50 of them or pre-sell, then I can't cover the cost of producing them. Like, and it costs me money.
Right.
And sadly, or unfortunately, whichever word is more appropriate, since COVID ended, that's happened like almost every month, man, where I'm not meeting my quota that was always met the past 2 or 3 years. So it's been tough, man. Like, Rick is going to need some part-time work soon, because
unfortunately,
I'm not getting a lot of art jobs. I'm getting some art jobs, but I mean,
unfortunately, they got rid of that guy at the grocery store that takes your $5 and gives you milk.
Yep, that's true.
Now it's the guy that hands the bags. Who buys?
I gotta pay for all, even though I'm ordering this stuff from overseas. they bill me in US dollars.
Sure.
And so I have to pay in US dollars. That includes shipping and, taxes and fees, whatever all those companies charge, all in US dollars. And that basically just doubles my cost. Like, it's been tough, man.
All right.
And now it's the Lunar New Year, so all these places are closed for a couple weeks. But yeah, man, it's been fun, man. I've learned a lot over the past few years in getting these stuff done, whether it's communicating with them at 1 a.m. because that's when they're working and I'm supposed to be sleeping. So my sleep pattern over the past 3 years is just messed. Like,
oh yeah, I can only.
It's the way it is. I'm used to it now. But yeah, it is what it is.
So, anyways, you got those 2 new pins that it's Ahsoka and
well, no, it's Snips and
Snips
and the Blue Admiral.
And the Blue Admiral are
those names are not
now.
trademarked.
And then the Jabba's shipping, right?
Yes, I still have to make those bases, man. Those things are so hard. Because all the people that pre-ordered, I promised to give them that little base, which is like a little box like this.
Uh-huh.
And everyone's getting free paper clips too. So don't knock me for my engineering techniques. Because it wasn't easy, man. I tried. But yeah, they turned out really good, man. I'm really happy with those.
Good.
I'm really happy with the little mini boxes I do. I think you guys are too. I love making these little mini boxes. They're so fun.
Yeah.
They're a real throwback.
Just package design in general. I think presentation is 60% of what the product is. So that's why I'm a big fan of like all action figures. All action figures being on, card backs and not boxes. Like I guess there's a reason why they put them in boxes. I don't know what it is. It's not because they can fit more in a shipping box. That's not the reason. It's not because they're cheaper to produce, because they're actually more expensive to produce a box than, like, I'm telling you straight up, like this box cost me about $3 US to make. These cost me less than $1 Canadian to make. So there's and that's, I'm not saying I know what Hasbro pays, but I know that making a box costs more than making a piece of paper. Like, it's just.
No, I tried to argue. I tried to argue this previously when a company switches from like a box to a card with a blister pack, and then they reduce the price of their figure by a couple of dollars.
They can.
In my mind, that savings is coming from what they're saving on the
materials. Yeah.
Like, I don't follow the Valaverse or collect any of those army toys, but
I didn't say I was talking about them.
No, but I've seen he now has some of his action figures on a carded.
Oh, well,
and that's awesome. I don't know why he didn't do that to begin with, because I think he is also
been out the gate with those card backs. He could have saved the money right off the bat. So with the new wave, they're $2 cheaper, but they also come on a card back. But they previously said that monetary savings was because they're doing so well. That
sure,
you know what I mean?
The volume. There's
they're not like they're not saying that it's because of the card back. They're giving another reason. But I'm arguing that when you save money on packaging, you should throw that in there and say, yeah, it's because we're saving money on packaging. And they did say it one time. They said it one time.
Yeah, like, I think transparency is a good thing in most cases. Sometimes, you got to have a couple of trade secrets, maybe. Like, I don't keep a lot of secrets and stuff I do, but I understand companies like that. They kind of do, right? Like, he came up with a cool idea. Like, he didn't come up with making army figures, but I mean, he was working with Hasbro when the G.I. Joe classified wasn't a thing yet. But in the background, he knew it was a thing. And then when he left the company, whether it was him being dismissed or him leaving on his own or whatever,
whatever, it doesn't.
He created an action figure line based on his likes, and then he also maybe knew a little bit about stuff. And hats off to him, man. I think he's turned into a pretty successful small company who's going to just get bigger and bigger. Maybe one day we do see him in the Walmart pegs and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Well, I want everyone to succeed with everything they do, unless it's illegal and hurts children.
I do have. I have quite a few of the figures, and I think that they do look good. They do mix and match well with the Joes, for the most part.
And he's well representing all these different female characters and and black people and white people and all these different things. I'm looking forward to he's going to have a bigger kind of adult male, body or buck. I'm looking forward to seeing that because
that looks pretty cool.
I'm a bigger buck guy as well.
Sure.
So like if there was to be a custom, Left Coast Rick, army figure, it would have to be on that reacher size scale, right? Because
and then I would get it and then head swap you down to like one of these tinier looking dudes. Like,
do you have to, Vern? Do what you gotta do, man? You do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the bigger figures. I've always loved
honestly, I took my selfie series and I put it on one of their,
and that's awesome.
Figures. Yeah.
Did you have to do anything with the
tag?
Okay.
No. And if I would have had to make a modification, I wouldn't have used it. And I've tried it on different bodies, but this is the one that it seems to sit the best on.
Yeah,
so
natural. Yeah, it looks natural.
Is that a GI Joe or a Valaverse?
It's a Valaverse. It's an Action Force.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the Duster or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, man. I'm jealous.
Yeah, it looks.
I don't have any Left Coast Rick figures, although I did make one back in the day. I made an old, not old, like one of the first vintage collections snow troopers they made, the Imperial Hoth Stormtrooper. I bought hundreds of. I love those figures. They were great figures because they had removable helmets on them.
Yeah,
and then underneath was just generic, not Australian clone trooper guy. But I mean, so I bought a bunch of those and I made customs of me. Like I bought these. At the time, there was some GI Joes, Roadblocks, and some other ones that were out. It was like they were like Legos, like GI Joe Legos, but they came with figures.
Yep.
And they were at the dollar store. This is way back in the day. And I got a bunch of these bald heads with just a little bit of a goatee. And I made all kinds of custom figures. And I got them put on display in the Toy Traders store here, which has the hugest, probably the world's largest diorama of action figures and toys. And somewhere in there with his hundreds of snowtroopers is like bald-headed Rick snowtrooper guy. So
but with a snowtrooper helmet covering his head.
Yes. So I got picture evidence, so it does exist. Even though his helmet's on.
Do you know which one it is?
He's changed his display since then, so no, I'd have to ask him.
Oh, that would be funny.
It's ever changing. It's pretty wild, man, to see it.
Wait, I don't know why you do you take a picture of it every time it changes?
I don't. And here's I usually go out there once a month. It's about an hour away from where I live. It's on the outskirts of Vancouver, out in Langley, it's called. But it is like probably the biggest toy store in all of Canada. And
Can you ask him?
One of my favorite places to go. And every time I go, I got my phone fully charged. I got backup battery ready to go because I want to go in there. And usually we're there for a couple of hours. It's so big a store. And I want to film. I want to film everything. But I go in there and I'm like, oh, look. Oh, look. No.
And you forgot
I'm so overwhelmed with all the freaking toys and stuff that I'm like, next time I'll take video. But yeah, look it up on YouTube, Toy Traders.
Okay.
And you can kind of see all these other people's videos of it. But
I wonder how many Toy Trader places would pop up if I type that in.
Seems like a generic.
It's not a franchise, but he did buy that name from an old franchise that was here in Canada. So I don't think you can get away with that, having a store with that name. Well, at least in Canada.
All right, I think.
So Eric, you buy your tickets for that new Star Wars movie coming out May 3rd?
What new Star Wars movie?
No,
Episode 1.
Yeah. No, I probably won't go see it in theaters again.
If you didn't know, Vern, the big hoopla on the internet this week was Empire Magazine teased a little graphic that said, "Hello there. Tune in tomorrow for the big announcement." And everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're making Kenobi season 2," and everyone got Kenobi boners left and right. And
I was one of them, but like it's.
They're just going to re-release Star Wars in the theater.
Yeah.
Well,
Episode 1 on the 20th anniversary in theaters again. But what I don't understand
is it going to be the original
25th?
Is it going to be a upgraded version or the original version?
Yes, they're going to add blinking Ewoks to it.
But not the Return of the Jedi, Star Wars, right?
No, they're not
No.
gonna.
New
It
Hope?
probably
No, it's
won't
the
be edited
25th
anyway.
of the Phantom Menace, but yeah, I fell for it maybe a little bit, or like I just wanted it to be Kenobi season 2 announcement so bad. But let's be honest, there's no way in hell Lucasfilm would let
No.
Empire magazine break that story. So like just logically that didn't make sense.
No, they
anyway.
got really good photography people, and that's what they're known for. They're not even known for like news. Like they take wicked photos behind the scene. They got some famous photographers. So does Variety and Rolling Stone. They all have great writers, but their photography is what it's all about. Their covers, their exclusive magazine covers, and yeah, I saw all these people like, oh my god, like millions of people like, oh, Kenobi season 2, I can't wait, oh my god, and I'm just like, just zero chance of that being announced.
Wow.
It's a magazine
At
cover.
least-
Is all it is.
At least through that, yeah. Yeah, logic went out the window just because
Yeah, Gap knows.
people wanted to will it into existence.
It's cool. I'll go see it in the theater. I think, man, like
Yeah,
just
Josh said
because
he's gonna go
it's a
see
good
it.
experience, but it is on TV right now. Like
I've got it on 4K.
I would rather they put the Willow season, any Willow in the theaters, because you can't watch that anywhere. You can't go buy the Blu-ray. You can't rent the VHS. You can't play it on Disney Plus or YouTube.
It's just the
You
series.
literally
The movie's
have
still
to
on.
bootleg it. No, didn't they remove the first Willow movie as well?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just the
new
series.
series?
I'm pretty sure the movie's still on Disney Plus, at least in the US.
Because honestly, that's one thing that I'm still dumbfounded by is why Disney, Lucasfilm, would remove one of their original content shows from their. But they own it. They don't owe money to nobody. They own it. Like,
yeah,
you
don't know the contracts behind the scenes. They probably just don't want to pay the They don't want to pay the royalties.
I have a different theory about why they pulled it. If you guys are interested,
yeah, Willow's still on.
I think that they pulled it so quickly because they were anticipating that they could show it on ABC weekly if this strike situation continued and they weren't able to produce shows. I think they thought, hey, it didn't get any ratings, let's pull it, and then we can have some shows set aside that if this strike thing goes on and we need filler shows in the spring, we can show this on ABC.
I don't think they needed to. I don't think you need to pull something from Disney Plus to do that, because I want to say that they did that with some of the Marvel shows, or Marvel movie, or maybe it was some of the Disney Plus shows like the Miss Marvel. I want to say they put on basic cable. No,
yeah,
I want to say
what I'm saying is, they did do that. They did put some on there, but I feel like with that show, it didn't get the ratings, didn't recoup any of the money. They thought, we can pull this. This could always go to like our network, ABC or whatever, if we're in a pinch and nothing's new, and then we'll make some money on it because people will really be wanting some original content that they haven't seen before. That's not a reality show, and we can throw this out there, and all of a sudden it might garner some type of an audience. That's just what I think that their plan was. So I have a feeling it's going to pop up on Hulu.
I think it's messed up, man. Like, I think if I was Warwick Davis, I would consider that a slap in the face and a kick in my little short nuts, and my dog slap in my daughter's face, and all the other cast who was in the
Willow. Right?
Hey, you guys, we don't care about you, man. We will never hire you again. We're giving you the Gina Carano treatment, and we're booting you.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, no, not the same.
Why didn't they delete every episode that had Gina Carano
in
it? Right. They didn't do that, but yet they deleted Willow, like the most lovingly
they didn't delete
character actor guy in the world ever. Like, they deleted it. You can't even buy a Blu-ray of it. Like, they never even made it available.
Yet you can't buy a Blu-ray of it yet, but you don't know it's not coming back.
Kind of. I don't know, man. I don't think it's. Why would they take it off?
I don't know, but I mean, stretching it into all of these other things that I think are just kind of crazy stretches and stuff like that. I mean,
it just makes no sense to me. Like, there's no different kind of licensing agreement or where they pay the actor Warwick Davis an extra American penny every time someone watches Willow on Disney Plus, and they didn't want to buck out that $30 a month or whatever it would be, but yet they already have that deal with him on Return of the Jedi, or what I mean? Like, it makes no sense to me.
It could be. I mean, we'll never know, but I mean, we'll see what happens, right?
It was a great show.
I will do my theory, Rick. The Vern Rand's theory. I think Willow's coming back to Hulu.
It's great because we don't have Hulu in Canada. That knocks all of the world but America.
I'm going to poo-poo on that a little bit because Hulu's not going to exist in the future.
It won't.
They're consolidating with Disney Plus.
I think it's going to be on Hulu. I think it's going to take a lot longer to consolidate those than we're thinking it is, but I don't know. We'll see.
Like I did like the Ahsoka show because it's Star Wars and it's new content and it's modern technology making special effects. But I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy. I had more fun with the Willow show watching it just because I don't know, man. I thought they had more fun with it. It looked like they had more fun making it. The actors and like I never saw like Disney usually has that after the series comes out. Oh, here's an hour-long special.
The making of.
They didn't do that for Willow, and that probably wouldn't have been the most fun making of show that they would have ever put on their show. In my opinion, because those actors had a lot of fun making that.
Yeah, you saw some behind the scenes stuff through other avenues where they were having a good time
promoting it. Like before the show came out, there's a lot of that, right?
Right.
Even after the actors shared like their own kind of behind the scenes stuff. Yeah.
I have a feeling that I don't know, but I think because they've done this, I bet you never see Warwick Davis show up at Star Wars Celebration again, or his daughter. I think he's got a tainted view of the Lucasfilm now because of that, and it sucks, man, because he was such a wonderful, pleasant man to meet when I met him.
Warwick Davis is amazing, but
it's like they cut off half of his income, and I think that's poor.
They cut out half of his income.
What other income does he have? He doesn't work every day acting. Like
we don't know I think it's a bit. Yeah, it's a bit.
I can't imagine that he lived on residuals from the stuff he previously did. I'm sure he was doing other things. I see a lot of people who used.
Well, do you think he makes a lot of money every year off like people watching Leprechaun?
He might be flipping homes. We don't know.
Well, I don't think he needs to, but I mean, like
even his daughter, guy are flipping homes.
He got his family into the acting bug on that Willow series and stuff, and now, maybe that's going to not help her acting career because no one can go watch her anymore. It's weird.
But consider this, right? Like it may not have been a Lucasfilm decision to pull it from Disney Plus. It may have been a Disney thing, right? So who puts on and produces like Star Wars Celebration? It's not like they're people from
sadly.
No. I know, but they're working with Lucasfilm. More people from Lucasfilm than like Disney corporate. I'm sure Disney corporate's involved in the process, but I think you're pissing in the wind if you think that Warwick Davis and Lucasfilm's relationship has soured.
I'm going to stick by that. I don't think if people are going to Japan this year, I bet you they don't see Warwick Davis as like the grandstand marshal, doing all the panels like he's done. He was like the host of Celebration for several occasions.
For several of them, but he didn't do that for Anaheim. He was barely there for Anaheim. And that's where they announced Willow.
That's where Willow was no longer on Disney Plus as well.
What? No, not true.
Well, that was just 2 years ago, right?
For Anaheim is when they announced Willow. Like they brought out the cast ahead of time, and teased it. But because I was sat right in the front row, and they had a section reserved for him and his family, and he didn't have the same kind of presence as he did in previous celebrations. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but. There was still COVID was still a thing and everyone was masked up in 2022.
Yeah, and I think he actually had a little bit of a reality show with his family too about you know,
Well,
being
I don't
little
know.
people.
well, there
and-
was he's done some stuff with was it Life's Too Short?
yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I just totally respect the guy, man, and I think it's whatever the reason they did it, it's not good enough. Just,
and
you know, if it's money, pay the dude, man. Just pay them.
yeah.
Like he's one of your. If you're like Disney and you got your Disney princesses, it's like, oh, we're removing Snow White. So if you look at Lucasfilm in general and you look at all their iconic characters and actors, he's one of them. And when you take him away, I don't know, man. I think it's much disrespect. Maybe he said something bad about the Holocaust. I don't know. Like, but I mean, it's just
Okay, we're done with this conversation.
Whoa.
this shit's relevant news, right?
We're
Gina
getting way
Carano.
out into left field now.
You guys know Gina Carano is now suing Lucasfilm, right?
Yeah, she's gonna.
Yeah,
lose.
good luck with that.
All right, everybody. Before this goes off the rails, thank
What?
you, everybody.
You don't think
in the
she's gonna
chat
get like
for joining this week on the
millions of dollars?
No,
We'll see
no.
you next week.
She will.
Thanks, guys. And you know what? For everybody who wished me a happy birthday and everything, I really appreciate it. And thanks, guys, for showing up. We're not going to get into that conversation. Sorry, Rick. I just don't want to have that on here at all.
I'm suing Oakhurst Studios, Vern Labs Technologies. No, I'm not. Happy birthday, Vern.
All right, guys. And we'll see you next time on the Toy Duo Team.
Toys, 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 manly toys, 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 toys.